Have you ever heard a command so clear it silences the world? Not the voice of your wife, or the wind, or even your own doubts. A voice that comes from the very foundation of the earth and the highest heaven. A voice you know, Abraham. That's all it said at first. And I, an old man used to strange journeys, simply said, "Here I am." Then it came the words. Each one a stone dropped into the pool of my soul, shattering my life. Take your son, your only son Isaac, whom you love, and go to the region of Moriah. Sacrifice him there. My hands, which had held his tiny form when Sarah finally, miraculously, placed him in my arms, these hands taught him to walk, to hold a bow. These hands were now to gather wood, bind my son, and lift the knife. I did not scream. I did not remind God of his promise that through Isaac my offspring would be as numerous as the stars. The God who gives, was he now asking for a receipt? The silence that followed the command wasn't empty. It was full of a terrible, aching trust, and a grief so vast it had no sound. So, early the next morning, not after a week of weeping, not after a council with Sarah, how could I ever look in her eyes? No, early the next morning, I saddled the donkey. I cut the wood for the offering. I woke Isaac and 2 young servants, and we set out. For 3 days we walked, the truth like a heavy stone in my chest, pulling me toward the unthinkable. Isaac, he was so alive, so full of questions. Father, yes, my son, the fire and wood are here. But where is the lamb for the burnt offering? And I heard myself say it, the words that were both a lie and the deepest truth I have ever spoken. I said, God himself will provide the lamb for the burnt offering, my son. I didn't know what I was saying, or perhaps I knew exactly. He would provide, he would have too, for I could not. We reached the place. I told the servants to wait. The boy and I will go over there and worship, and then we will come back to you. We will come back. Did I believe it? Hope is a stubborn weed. We walked on, together. I built the altar, stone upon stone, each one heavier than the last. I arranged the wood, then I turned to him. There was no struggle. There was only a terrible, trusting understanding in his eyes. He saw the wood, the fire, the knife, and no lamb. He let me bind him, my strong, beautiful boy. He let me lay him on the wood, on the altar I had built to the God of promise. His eyes were open, looking at me, trusting the Father who was about to destroy the future. In that moment, I was no patriarch. I was a knife edge. On one side, every fatherly instinct, every love, every promise. On the other, the voice. I took the knife, the metal caught the sun. I raised it. The world narrowed to my son's face, the gleam of the blade, and the silent, waiting heavens. I had to choose, and in choosing to obey, I was choosing to believe that somehow, even this, was part of a story I could not see. I swung my arm back, Abraham. Abraham, the voice, again, shattering the silence, and again, from the depths of my being, from a soul held together by a single thread, here I am. I lowered my arm slowly. Do not lay a hand on the boy. Do not do anything to him. For now I know that you fear God, because you have not withheld from me your son, your only son. I dropped to my knees, weeping with relief. I looked up, and there, its horns caught in a thicket, was a ram. A ram, struggling, alive, a substitute. God himself had provided the lamb, just as I had blindly told my son. I offered that ram. I called that place Yahweh. The Lord will provide. They say, on the mountain of the Lord it will be provided. But what is provided is not always what you expect. Sometimes it is not the thing, but the understanding. He provided a test. He provided a ram. But first, he provided a way to see my own heart and the awful, beautiful cost of covenant. We walked down the mountain together, my son and I, the bond between us severed and rewoven, stronger and stranger than before. I had been ready to give him back to God, and God gave him back to me. Every day with him since has been a gift I now hold with open hands. They will tell this story as a test of obedience, and it was. They will tell it as a story of provision, and it was. But for me, it is the story of the day I learned that the God who asks for everything is often making room to give you something you could never have held on to, if your hands were already full. He is the God who sees Yahweh Yiri, even on the mountains we never wanted to climb.